Hello and welcome to In Stitches. Today I've got this awesome looking Singer 143W2. It's a Zig Zag sewing machine, industrial. It's not in the best of shape. I was given it. Basically I was offered it by the local men's shed here in Motueka. And the men's shed, for those who don't know, it's basically a group of guys that just get together. They, generally retired men, generally men. I think ladies are allowed. I'm not 100% sure, but they just get together and they donate their time to sort of fixing things up, making things and whatnot. They had this machine lying around and getting in the way, and it came on a table, which I don't have because the table didn't match the machine. The table and the motor looked like an overlocker, and this machine was just basically sitting in it. So I just took the machine head to see if it can be fixed up, and maybe I'll get it going. It's quite rusty. It needs de-rusting, and it's turning over. It's not seized or anything like that. So I'll just go through and give it a clean up. Not sure I'll get the whole lot done in this one video, but we'll make a start anyway. Also wanted to try out this Evapor Rust here. This video is not sponsored at all, and I'm just really trying to see how it goes. It's a super safe rust remover, apparently reusable, so just going to give it a go. Got a jar here for some of the bits and pieces to go into with the rust remover. I'm just reading from the manual here, and the description says high-speed sewing machine 143W2 has an aluminium alloy vibrating needle bar frame and rotary hook, and is intended for overseaming and zigzag stitching on fine lingerie, general fabrics and lightweight leather. It has ball bearings on the rear end of the arm shaft and hook driving shaft. The needle bar has a maximum throw of 3/16 inch, vibrating both sides of the centre line. The speed of this machine is especially valuable in zigzagging work and long overseaming in fine fabrics such as women's underwear, slips, also reducing corsets, dresses, etc. It is successfully used in general tailoring work and the manufacture of articles such as trousers, coats, gloves, and for certain operations in the manufacture of shoes, such as attaching side and top facings to the linings and butting canvas or felt toe pieces to the end of the vamp, which I'm not actually sure what the vamp is. If anyone knows, if they leave it in the description down below, that'd be great. In the manufacture of table covers, draperies, scarves, etc., an ornamental effect can be produced by overseaming a cord with thread of a contrasting colour. The raw edges of the fabric may be overseamed by taking one stitch in the fabric and the other over the edge. Machine 143W3 is a similar machine to the W2, except that the needle bar has a maximum throw of 5/16 inch and is designed for beating and tacking coat pads. There's the underside there, just having a quick look there. The belt isn't tacked. Anyway, let's start by just getting some of the rusty bits and pieces off. We'll have a wee look at the machine and see what we've got here. And I'm not going to go into full restoration mode here. It's a heavy beast. Yeah, let's say not full restoration mode. I'm really just going to see if I can get the majority of the rust and whatnot, clean the machine up to a certain extent. I'm not going to go too crazy with it. You can see that it's pretty rusty. Anyway, everything seems to be working. Feed dogs are feeding, or appear to be. Appear as though they would feed fabric, and the hook is turning. Needle bar is going up and down. Take up lever is going up and down as well. you know, everything seems to be in working order. So I'll start by just removing, you know, lots of the tension assembly here, the throat plate, the foot, things like that. We'll get it soaking in the rust remover there and just see, you know, what sort of result we get from the rust remover. It's a dirty machine, so apologies in advance. I'll try and keep my hands as clean as possible. There's a bobbin there, you know, thin style, reasonable diameter bobbin there. Okay, everything seems to be, you know, movable. It's not seized up or anything like that. Just start by getting the presser foot off here. I think the press foot's more sort of oily than anything else and dirty rather than rusty. Might be a little bit of rust. I think I'll just generally, you know, put the whole lot on here. Just get a bit of this in here. It's pretty nasty looking, but that there looks pretty nasty, doesn't it? But apparently it's non-toxic. So I'm just going to drop some bits into it. And I mean, I don't see any reason why I can't just put screws in and bits and pieces like that for a start anyway. And we'll get this, I'll just put that over there. I don't want to knock that over on my workbench. Now, see if we can get this throat plate off here. Yep, that's not seized up, that screw, which is good. Just drop that in there. Another screw here. Just little throat plate screws. I've got the light on. Let's put my light on. Little throat plate screws, pretty rusty on the head there, but not too bad. Throat plate looking pretty rusty. It'll be interesting to see how this comes out. There's the Singer part number there, anyone who's interested. Yeah, let's drop that in. And there's another plate here, just off to the side of the throat plate there. The feed dog looks a little bit rusty as well. I will get you in closer here. Another plate to go into the rust remover there. I will remove the feed dog there. And I can see a little bit of rust on that hook as well. I guess, you know, I should take the hook out as well. Just take a note to see if there's any timing marks on the machine. That's tight. Got it. Definitely a good idea to have good quality screwdrivers when you're doing this sort of work. There's nothing worse than ruining a screw head because of inferior screwdrivers. There's the feed dog there. Part number. Is that readable? I think that's a 518 210 518. It's a Manco USA. Made in the USA. Can't go wrong. This slide plate here too, that was slipped in the side, that's not original. You know, it's sticking out too far. I think that's actually off a Singer domestic machine. It's quite sort of pitted, rusty. I'll chuck it in the liquid there just to see how that comes up. Now the hook here, you can see the hook here. I'll get you in real close. Now I'm not sure what the state of that needle is, but I wouldn't trust it. I will check out to see what sort of needle it takes. But you can see the action here. So we've got the needle bar there. I'm just turning the wheel back and forwards there. The needle bar pretty much at its bottom dead center. and then you'll see the needle bar rise as the hook comes through there. You can see the hook point just coming past the back of the needle just there. I'm just moving the machine back and forward again. There. And of course, because it's a zigzag machine, you know, the needle bar will move to the right and to the left as well. So therefore, effectively, that almost changes the timing as such. It changes the timing as far as the hook to needle relationship goes. So you can see that in action there. So that's the hook there. We'll have a wee look and just see on the needle bar whether we've got any timing marks as well before I go pulling the hook out there. Also want to clean up the tension assembly, but if we have a look, we'll get in behind the faceplate here. It's loose. Okay. That can go into the rust remover. Faceplate comes off nice and easily. I would say extremely easy to service this machine. I'd like to get this soaking here. Let's get the tension assembly apart here. Spring. Just dropping all that in the solution there. And the tension discs probably have seen better days, have they? They might not be overly worn, just a little bit rusty. Looking okay. Probably just almost clean them up, but I'll soak them anyway. A little bit of surface rust up here. I'll drop those in. And the check spring is intact, which is good. I don't have to mess around trying to find another check spring. In fact, we can probably just about get this guide disc off here. Oh, that's actual tension disc, is it? Yeah, that's the tension disc there. Bit of crud in there. That would have been upsetting the tension. Let's get those off. Could probably remove the tensioner assembly. There's a screw under here that holds this whole assembly on. I guess it's probably a good idea to get that out and we can soak it. There's the check spring there. It's actually not overly tight. I mean, if that was tight, I'd get a shorter screwdriver onto that, but that's fine. There's the tension post there. Could do with a bit of soaking as well. And I think that's probably all of the parts I really need to take off. There's the check spring stopper there. There will be a tension release. Yeah, so this little piece here, you can see coming in and out. As I'm lifting the foot, you'll see the foot bar lifting here. I'm lifting the lever, the back here, foot bar here, and then I've got tension release here. So when I lift the foot, the tension release comes out. That is probably just a pin that sticks in there, is it? Yeah, so that goes right through to the back of the machine there. Tension release bar. It's looking pretty clean. I don't really think it needs soaking. So as part of a service, what I would do here is I would get the air compressor in and blow all the little bits of lint and bits and pieces out. If ever we dig around with the tweezers, you'll see what I mean. This sort of, that sort of gunk there. Get an air compressor in there, give it a good blowout and get some oil in there. We'll go through oiling a little bit later. We'll just go through what we need to get soaking for a start. There's an oil wick in behind here, so that needs probably a good soaking with oil. I mean, these bits back in here, that's the needle bar drive crank there. You know, looking okay. There's a very small amount of sort of surface rust on them, but I mean, if all you want to do is get the machine up and running, there's no real need to completely go crazy and pull the machine apart, just to remove a little bit of superficial surface rust there. That noise I think is possibly the drive belt might not be in such good condition. That's the belt that joins the two shafts, the top and bottom shaft there. Might as well remove this top plate here. That's the little stepped screw there. That plate there, I could probably soak half of that at a time. Let's just get part of it in there anyway. Okay, and we can have a wee look in the top here. There's the belt there that I think is making that noise. Timing belt there. And I would say that this will be stitch length, will it? Yeah, stitch length adjustment there. Stitch length adjustment. So I'm basically holding this lever here in, and it notches into one of these little recesses here, and then you turn the hand wheel to adjust the stitch length up or down. Now to set the width of the zigzag, the bight as such, you turn the this here to the right to decrease and to the left there to increase the bight. So if we took it right in, I'm assuming, or right out, sorry, it's screwing out. I don't want to go too far. Maybe that's just set to straight stitch. I'm just looking at this here. We're effectively on straight stitch there, and if I turn this in, that will bring the zigzag to its widest bight there. Screw that right in, and there we go. You can see this moving here now. That's the widest zigzag there. Adjusted here. Okay, the bobbin case was actually what I needed to have a look at here. Looks in pretty good condition. I'll give that a soaking as well. A little bit of surface rust on that. Okay, and let's just remove this needle here. Now I don't have a needle. It's a 135 by 7 needle, which I don't think I have in stock, and it's probably okay, but I like to start with an absolute brand new needle. But we can check it. It's blunt. I can feel it's quite blunt. You might be able to see it on the camera there. Not sure if you'll be able to see it. You can see a little dull point on it, and you can feel it actually if you just brush your finger up towards the point. You can feel it there. The other test is a test for straightness. So if we get a straight, just clean that off there, get that on a flat piece there, just roll that with a screwdriver, and if you see the point wobbling around, you know it's not straight. So that needle is actually straight. I can see that. Now that's that test there you can't do on a domestic machine, you know, that uses the flat shanked needles, the universal needles. You can't do this test on those. You just sort of have to eyeball those. But that is as straight as anything, and you know that point is no good. But I think for, you know, setting the timing on this machine, that needle will be absolutely fine. So I'll put that aside and go ahead and remove this hook here, just to, you know, check its condition, maybe soak it in the rust remover there, just in case it's got any rust on it. There's a little locator finger here that probably could do with a bit of soaking. Yep, she's pretty heavy. Oh yeah. Okay, just remove this locator finger here, just the one screw. Soak that, and that's the little locator there for the, that's the base locator, a little bit rusty there as well. Get that soaking. Okay, and why not just remove the hook here. What I would like to do though is I'd like to see you know, if the timing is correct or not, just by using the timing marks there. Let's put the needle back in. You would set the timing with the zigzag set on the narrowest, so let's wind that back out. I'm just winding this back out here to get to our straight stitch. Now I just want to have a look for timing marks. Now I can see timing marks on that needle bar there. You can see you've got a timing mark just here. That's the low bottom dead center timing mark, and then you've got your needle bar rise timing mark for when your hook should come in behind the needle. Now you'll notice that the timing marks are actually down below the bottom surface of the needle bar bearing here, and that is because the first thing to do is you set the distance, the needle bar rise first. That's the very first thing you do, and so you get your hook timing done first, and then you adjust your needle bar height to the appropriate height. So what you would do in this situation is, if you're retiming the machine, is you would set the needle bar so that that top mark there comes just below the bottom bearing there. Just to make that a little bit easier for the timing, I will reset the needle bar so that the timing mark here is just flush with the bottom of the needle bar frame there. Just loosen this screw here for the needle bar height, and this is the proper way to do your timing. I see it, I've talked about this before, and I see a lot of people saying just line the hook up with the just above the eye of the needle, and that's your timing. That is the total wrong way of doing it, especially on a machine like this, because your needle bar height could be incorrect, and if your needle bar height's incorrect, timing your machine that way will be the wrong way of doing it. Okay, so we've got that set so that the at bottom dead center the top mark is just visible below the needle bar frame there, and if you turn the machine in operating direction until the second mark is just visible at the bottom of the frame there, your needle, or your hook, sorry, should be coming in to your needle. Now I've just popped the machine back upright there, just so that you can see it relatively here. Now just bring the timing mark up to the bottom of the frame there. That's the lower timing mark, and at that point there the hook should be in behind the needle, that hook point there. You can see the hook point just here. Okay, so the timing is out on this machine, and I'm just going to double check that the zigzag is not engaged. I've got the machine set to straight stitch, and you'll see there, if I do it again, bring up the timing mark, second one, that's the needle bar rise. Timing's miles out, absolutely miles out. Not trying to disrespect the people that are giving you know, this false advice here on setting timing, but I just see so much of it, and it's just so wrong. I mean, I think on certain models it might be okay, certain domestic models it might be the way that you set the timing, but this, I'll just explain this to you. So I see a lot of people say, well, you just bring the hook so that it's coming in just above the needle eye. Now you do have to remember on a zigzag type machine that if the needle bar is at the left hand side of its throw, that the hook has to come a little bit further. But just for the sake of simplification, let's just talk about it in a straight stitch scenario at this stage. So a lot of people say, oh well, you just bring the hook so that it just comes in above the eye, and so you'd say, oh well, the timing probably looks all right there, but it's, as you saw before, it's miles out. The problem with doing the timing that way, so that what they're saying is you just set the timing so it's there like that. It's a very error-prone way of setting your timing. It's very inaccurate. And the reason for it, as I'll demonstrate it, is if your needle bar is set incorrectly, let's say. Now, I've exaggerated this quite a bit here as far as I've incorrectly set the needle bar height. And this is just to demonstrate the incorrect way that I see it being explained on the internet and on YouTube. No disrespect to the people that are putting that information out there. They probably are just misinformed and are just basically parroting what other people have told them, which is the incorrect way of doing it. And I just want to demonstrate it here. If your needle bar is set, the needle bar height is incorrectly set, and you use the method of just bringing the hook through to just above the needle eye, that you'll notice is when the needle bar is at the bottom of its travel here. As I say, I've exaggerated this. The hook is coming through behind the needle eye, so you would think, yep, perfectly fine. The problem is it's not, because you'll notice I'm turning the machine in operating direction, that the needle bar does not rise before the hook comes through. There, it's just basically at its bottom dead center, so there will be no loop at the back of the needle. Now, the proper way, so you would retard the timing here and wait for a little bit of needle bar rise. I'm just retarding the timing. You wait for a little bit of needle bar rise, see that rise there, and then your hook comes through, right? And because the needle bar's not set correctly, now the hook's coming in under the eye, and although the needle bar is rising and throwing a loop, the hook will miss it because it's coming in under the eye. And that is because the needle bar height is incorrectly set, and then the timing is incorrectly set if it's done in relation to the needle eye. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is make sure that you've got your needle bar height correct, and on a machine like this it's very easy because you've got the timing marks here, which I'll try and show you again. Bring the needle bar down, you can see the bottom mark, there's the top mark there, just to the bottom of the needle bar bearing there, this here. Turn the machine in operating direction to get the bottom mark up, that's your needle bar rise, and it's at that point that the hook should be behind the needle, and you can see that the timing is out again. So if I've just got these screws loose so I can slip it on the shaft there. That is your correct needle timing, your hook timing, sorry. So you can see needles at, I'll turn the machine backwards here just to get us into position. So turning in operating direction, needle's coming down, hits the bottom dead center about there, it starts to rise, throws a loop, and the hook comes through and picks up the loop from the needle. And that is how you correctly set your timing. Now, the needle bar does need adjustment from there, but if we take this to its full left-hand throw, so I'll bring I'm engaging the zigzag here, so it's coming to its full, that's actually its full right throw. I'll just take it around one revolution. So I'm just running the machine in operating direction here. The needle bar is at its very left-hand throw on the zigzag. Needle's coming down, we hit bottom dead center, needle bar starts to rise, and the hook comes across and picks up the loop. Now that the timing is set, I can set my needle bar appropriately. And I'm doing that on the left-hand throw there. It depends what direction the hook is rotating as to what side of the throw you would set your needle bar height on. So if the hook's turning in this direction, it's the left-hand side of the throw of the needle bar on your zigzag. If the hook's turning the other direction, it'll be the right-hand throw. You'll see that the hook's coming in quite high in relation to the needle eye, so just bring that needle bar up slightly. Just want to bring it up so that there will be a specification for that in the manual. So you just want to bring it in so that the hook's coming in above the needle eye, not too close to the needle eye, but not too far. It's difficult to convey, but you there's a little scarf on the back of that needle just above the eye. It's a little cutout. I'll see if I can try and get you in. This is a side view. You'll see there's a small, what's called a scarf, and that's just above the needle eye. So the needle eye is down here slightly, and you'll see a little sort of divot that heads in here, and that's called the scarf. Now you want that hook to come through in the scarf. You can see there, sorry I'm bumping the camera, you can see there that it's probably just a little, the needle bar is probably just a little bit high. So if I bring that down slightly, you know, that's coming into the scarf there. Now the hook to needle distance is too far there. You can see there's quite a bit of, that should be about 0.1 of a millimetre, so very small amount. There's actually a little bit of play in the system here, a little bit of wear. You might be able to take that up, but generally that's probably a little bit too far, so the hook actually needs to come in this way. But that's another setting altogether. But you can see there that it's coming in quite nicely to the scarf there, and if we turn the machine one full rotation, you'll see the needle will go over to the right hand throw, so it's heading away, and then the needle's coming up, the hook's coming through, and the hook is just behind the needle now. You'll see there that the hook is coming into the top end of the scarf there, because the needle is in the right hand throw. And if I turn it again, another full revolution, you'll see that the needle's coming towards you on the left hand throw. You'll see that the hook comes in to the lower end of the scarf. That's about there. So that needle bar height is about right. If we have a look at the timing marks there, yeah, you'll see that it's pretty right. The timing marks are pretty right on this actually. So before, the needle bar was low and the timing was late. So now, you know, the needle bar is probably just slightly lower than, you know, that top mark there is just slightly lower than the bottom of this bushing here, but not much. So I've adjusted that needle bar height just slightly down, and then of course the timing will be, you know, it's got to be the distance between these two marks here always. So, you know, it's got to be pretty close to about there for our timing. And because we're on Zig Zag, I can see that it's not quite right. I'll bring that back out. Just double checking the timing there. So that's just a little bit low to a little bit low there. It's actually easier to see from behind there, but you can see that the hook point is coming in through the center line of the needle. So the setting for the hook timing is where the tip of the hook point comes in through and is level with the center line of the needle, which it's pretty close to there. So the timing's correct, needle bar height's good. But I'm just going to mess all that up now anyway by pulling the hook out. Okay, to remove the hook, these two I think have to be loosened, or at least this one. That screw there, oh yeah, just, yeah, that allows the, so you don't need to loosen these two screws here at all. That just allows the hook to come out there. There we go. A little bit of thread caught around under here. That's not uncommon. That's the base here, this part that's spinning. That normally stays stationary. It's held by that little finger that I took out before. And then the hook spins around the base like that. And the base holds the bobbin case in. Okay, and I can see there's a screw missing here. There's two screws here. Yep, two screws here, should be three. But if I remove these screws, that will allow us to separate these two parts. And then just have to be careful. These screws, there's the base out there now. Okay, and the two screws still sitting in there. I'll just push them through. One and the other one, maybe. Nearly out. There we go. The two screws there. And then there's also a needle guard here, which probably should come off, I guess, if I want to clean this properly. One there, one screw there, and that needle guard should come off. That just stops if the needle's deflected before it gets down towards the hook, this needle guard will come through and straighten it back up again forcefully so that the hook doesn't collide with the needle. I can see here that this hook is a little bit dull. Doesn't have a very sharp point on it. You know, it's a little bit, you can see it sort of shining there. That's a little bit dull there. So that hook point is slightly damaged, and so I'll use a tri-stone to clean it up and then buff it on the buffing wheel. There's a little bit of a snag there as well, so that could cause thread breakage, and with that hook point being dull like that could cause missed stitches as well. So I'll clean that up. I think what I'll do though is I'll dump that into the rust remover there. There's a little bit of surface rust, it'll probably clean up okay. Alright, put these into the rust remover as well. Why not? And then I'll just put aside these screws here. So at this stage I think I'll just leave it at that. I might just quickly remove this if I can. This little thread guide could do, just sort of removing anything that's easy to get off, you know, and that can be cleaned up. Thread guide there, put that in there. So I'm just going to, you know, see how well this works. I'll probably just leave it for a while. What does it recommend here? Recommendations, continue soaking until all rust has been removed. Deeply rusted items will require extended soak periods, so you know it's really just a matter of checking it. See how we go. Okay, so I will call it at that one. We'll call it part one, and then we'll come back with part two, where you know hopefully these bits and pieces here will have cleaned up a little bit. I'll go ahead from there and put the machine back together. We'll give it a good lubrication. I'll give it a clean, and we'll see if we have a running machine after that. Not that I can test it fully because I don't have a table and a motor for it at this stage, but at least I can sort of turn it over by hand and make sure it's actually stitching. Yeah, so that's it for this one. Thank you as always to my patrons, and thank you very much for watching. Keep an eye out for part two.